Hi, I'm Tyler Thomson, Associate Curator of the ITA Women's Collegiate Tennis Hall of Fame. It's such a pleasure to welcome this class of 2019. Patty Fendick McCain, Linda Gates, Mary Ellen Grant Gordon, and Dr. Ann Lebedeff. This class will join other legends of the game in this very special Hall of Fame. Congratulations again, and without further ado, let's enjoy the ceremony.
Good evening, everyone. We humans are fascinated by athletic skills and achievements. Most of us have played a sport or two, so we're in a position to judge those who excel by combining special talent with an intense will to win. Such individuals are the subject of our program tonight. And we mortals are here to pay our respects and to celebrate the very best collegiate women's tennis players who will be enshrined in our beautiful facility at the McCormack Nagelsen Tennis Center. My name is Gary Ripple, and for the past 2½ decades, it's been my honor and privilege to serve as Master of Ceremonies for this event. If I've done my job this evening, you will not remember that I was here. But instead, the names of our honorees will be forever etched in your memories, and this event will be a success. Tonight we honor 4 deserving and inspiring new members to the Hall. They are, and feel free to applaud when I name them, they are Linda Gates of Stanford University, Patty Fendick McCain, also from Stanford, Mary Ellen Grant, Emory University, and Dr. Ann Lebedeff, also from San Diego State. I should mention right off the bat that we have former inductees into the Hall with us tonight. They include, and now I'll ask you to hold your applause, please. They are Frank Brennan, Ed Hegman, Betsy Nagelsen-McCormack, and Billie Jean King. It's been pointed out that the program tonight, mentioning the first group inducted in 1995, it has several people with asterisks after their name, indicating that they are no longer with us. And one of the persons with the asterisk is Billie Jean King. Well, as soon as we found this out, we thought it was a printer mistake at first. Then we called in law enforcement, and they helped us trace the source of Billie Jean's demise. It came in a letter from someone by the name of Bobby Riggs. If you look closely, it's a different asterisk. It indicates that she's very much alive and she's with us this evening. Billie Jean, thanks for being here. And before we get too far into the evening, let's have a welcome from our host, the College of William and Mary. The person who has that honor this evening is none other than our senior advisor for athletics, the Honorable Peel Hawthorne. Peel.
Good evening. As a former student athlete at William & Mary, a 26-year field hockey coach, and current thank you, and current administrator, it's my honor to welcome you to William & Mary. This is my third time attending the Hall of Fame, and I have to say I am just astounded at the accomplishments of our inductees every year, and this year is no exception. So Linda, Patty, Mary Ellen, and Ann, it's our honor to host your induction tonight, and congratulations on your truly incredible careers. Thank you. Many of you know our dear friend Millie West, who, with the generous support of Mark McCormack and Betsy Nagelsen-McCormack, brought the vision of a William & Mary indoor tennis center to life, and within its walls established the ITA Women's Hall of Fame in 1995, as Gary just mentioned. Millie is the original curator of the Hall of Fame and is herself an inductee. And if you haven't done so already, I strongly encourage you to go over to McCormack Nagelsen and take a look around. It is well worth your time, and I know that Millie would be happy to know that you visited the Hall of Fame. For health reasons, Millie couldn't be with us tonight, but she sends her love and best wishes. And if you know Millie, then you know that she is a mighty and small powerhouse, literally a force of nature, and it only takes a force of nature to stop her. So, last year it was the hurricane. This year she's ill, but please know that she had a hand in the planning of this event, and that she is very much still in charge. So if you know Millie, you know that to be true. Thank you for being here. Before I go, I'm going to do this for Millie because she, I'm sure, would appreciate it. I'm going to take a selfie with everybody in the background. So you guys, all right? This is for Millie. She'll love it. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Congratulations.
Thank you, Peel. And now to proceed our dinner, we're going to have a special video. Every great Hall of Fame has to have a world-class videographer. And I'm pleased to tell you that we have probably the best of any Hall of Fame anywhere, at least in our part of the universe. His name is Brian Williams, and he's created a video that says a lot about this evening's program, but also introduces the hall and the facility that is considered to be one of the finest in all of college tennis. So Brian, it's all yours.
Until 1995, it was just a vision. But that year, Mark and Betsy Nagelsen-McCormack turned that vision into reality, creating a home for the Intercollegiate Tennis Association's Women's Hall of Fame. Expressing their dedication to women's tennis and backing that up with financial generosity, the McCormack Nagelsen Tennis Center opened on the College of William & Mary campus, housing the Hall of Fame. Mark McCormack revolutionized the world of sports as founder of his company, International Management Group, and as a result, shaped the sports marketing industry. In the early 1960s, he built IMG into the world's largest athlete representation and sports marketing firm, starting with his first client, legendary golfer Arnold Palmer. Called the most powerful man in sports by Sports Illustrated, McCormack helped change the face of women's tennis as well. On the professional level, his advocacy on behalf of players and his promotion of tournaments worldwide brought tremendous new support and interest to the game. On the intercollegiate level, McCormack provided the first women's tennis scholarships at his alma mater, William & Mary, enhancing the team's competitiveness in NCAA Division I play. When the ITA Women's Hall of Fame opened in 1995, Mark and Betsy McCormack were honored with induction into the hall, along with a who's who of tennis greats, including the legendary Billie Jean King, the inspirational Althea Gibson, and Hazel Hotchkiss Whiteman, founder of the Whiteman Cup, which saw 4 American victories on the William & Mary campus in the 1980s. In 1998, Mildred Millie West took her place in the hall. During her more than 50-year association with William & Mary, Millie has been a professor, department chairman, tennis coach, and brought the Whiteman Cup tournament to the campus. She also spearheaded the construction of the ITA Hall of Fame and has been its curator since the hall opened its doors. The ITA Women's Collegiate Tennis Hall of Fame was created to celebrate the milestones in women's collegiate tennis, from the early struggles for recognition to the achievement of full-fledged intercollegiate competition. Every 2 years, the ITA Women's Hall of Fame enshrines exceptional players, coaches, and contributors in women's intercollegiate tennis. In doing so, it becomes an even more inspiring sight for future champions. Tonight, the Hall of Fame welcomes 4 new members. 2-time NCAA singles champion and National Coach of the Year, Patty Fendick McCain. 3-time NCAA champion and National Collegiate Player of the Year, Linda Gates. Winner of 8 NCAA championships and the most decorated female tennis player in collegiate history, Mary Ellen Gordon. And 2-time Division II national champion and the Wilson ITA 1990s Coach of the Decade, Ann Lebedev.
Congratulations to the ITA Women's Collegiate Hall of Fame Class of 2019.
Congratulations to Patty Fendick McCain, to Linda Gates, to Mary Ellen Gordon, Grant, and Ann Lebedev. And to Ann Lebedev, well done, and so happy that you have the Leadership Award in your name. So everyone have a great time. Just enjoy it, relish in it, talk about the glory days, and congratulations again to all of you.
Welcome back. We're moving along. Brian liked my comments about his career and his wealth to the Hall of Fame, that he's decided to do a double feature tonight. The second half will begin with a video of the tournament that our tennis players, our ladies, have been competing in. He shot some footage yesterday and today. So let's begin with a video of the Hall of Fame tournament.
The atmosphere of the courts, the indoor facility we played on yesterday, it has been awesome.
It is a great opportunity for us.
It's like not an experience you can get any other time in your life.
You can see like, oh, maybe that can be me in the next, I don't know, few years, I don't know, maybe 10 years. But I think it's just a cool inspiration. It's sort of like pushing you on the court almost.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about. Wait!
Okay, now, from the beginning.
You're a young doubles team. How good can you be this year?
So I think we have an amazing team right now. All the girls are working hard, and we are so excited to start the season in January. We have 2 freshies this year, and they are doing amazing. So yeah, we are kind of excited.
It has been awesome. I mean, just for me, first time being at an ITA fall tournament, especially here in Williamsburg, Virginia. I think it's amazing. The atmosphere of the courts, the indoor facility we played on yesterday. It was really fun for like the first time experience, and so far I'm enjoying it, and we're enjoying it. So it's been fun so far.
52 years old. Now, you're a senior and a freshman
Yes.
put together. What do you learn from each other when you're on the court? You're fairly new playing together, I assume?
Yeah. I actually learned a lot from Kate. She already has a lot of experience, and I think she's just a really calming presence on the court. So even when I'm sort of like, oh my gosh, like I'm all over the place, she's sort of there, and she's like, we got this. Like I've already been through it. Like she's just very like peaceful, and it's really good, I think. Yeah.
Kate?
I think our tennis styles match, so it definitely helps to play doubles. And I've had pretty many doubles partners throughout my college career, and I really enjoy playing with Ayana because she's a very aggressive, but at the same time, she has a good variety of balls and shots, so that definitely helps to win the matches and just enjoy playing with her overall.
Now, this is the home of the Women's College Hall of Fame. Is there anything special about that, playing here?
I think it's cool because you can see like, oh, maybe that can be me next, like, in the next, I don't know, few years. I don't know, maybe 10 years, I don't know. But I think it's just a cool, like, inspiration, like, it's sort of like pushing you on the court almost because, like, that's my goal,
Yeah, this is my last year playing college tennis, so right now I'm trying to enjoy it as much as possible and hope that maybe sometime I'll also be there.
And how does it feel to be playing for William & Mary College, one of the most oldest and prestigious colleges in the country?
We love playing for William & Mary. We have such a big supporting fan base, just alumni and boosters. So it's just really special, and I feel like it's different from any other college.
Yeah, we really feel like there's a family here and a strong bond, and we don't see that very often anywhere. So we're really grateful for that.
Hall of Fame Classic in itself been for you so far?
I think it's the first one, so it's definitely cool to just get to experience it, have all the new class that's getting inducted here, and just I feel like a lot of college tennis players don't get to experience something like this, so it's really special.
Thanks, Brian. We appreciate that. Before we get to our inductions, there are a few introductions that I'd like to make. We have members of the selection committee for the Hall of Fame here this evening. They include Frank Brennan, Ed Hagman, Brian Williams, and Tyler Thomson, who's also a sort of the coordinator of this evening's program. We're also pleased to acknowledge the presence of William & Mary head tennis coach Tony Bickford. Where are you, Tony? Way in the back. And some of the teams that are competing in the tournament this weekend are here as well. They include Liberty, Penn State, the University of Miami, West Virginia, and the University of Maryland. And of course, our own William & Mary team is here. Coordinator of this evening's myriad of details is the special events coordinator for the College of William & Mary, and she is way in the back. Her name is Kelsey Brunfeld. Kelsey? And now one of our former inductees will assume her duties as presenter of our new inductees. She's the namesake for this universally admired tennis center. She had a great career in professional tennis, and to be honest, she is the prime reason we look forward to this event. We love having her back whenever her busy schedule will allow. I could go on, but we all know that she is someone who really does need no introduction. Betsy Nagelsen-McCormack.
Hi, I'm Betsy Nagelsen, class of 1995. I am so proud to be a member of the ITA Women's Hall of Fame right here on the campus of the College of William & Mary. And it is my great pleasure to welcome the class of 2019, Patty Findig-McCain, Linda Gates, Mary Ellen Gordon, and Dr. Ann Lebedeff. Congratulations on your induction into this very special hall, ladies. I can't really tell you how much it means to me to be here for these inductions. Tonight is just so very special. I cannot be here without having the most overwhelming feeling of just comfort and privilege to be here. Today, when I was taking a walk through Colonial Williamsburg, I had such a special moment of a vivid memory back several years ago when Mark and I were here with our daughter Maggie. She was 3 then, she's almost 22 now. And we took this carriage ride, and Mark's face was beaming with such great joy for several reasons. But the image that I had today when I was walking was just how big a heart he had, how much he loved to share that, and that he wanted to make a difference in people's lives, and that he has done. So it's hard to not realize and appreciate that fact that this event most likely would not happen without Mark and his passion and his deep love for William & Mary, his alma mater, and tennis, especially women's tennis. And for sure it wouldn't have happened without Millie West, who sadly is not here tonight. And I know how desperately she would want to be here. Her deep commitment and love and passion for enthusiasm for this school and for women's sports and for life and people in general is unmatched. And I can say that I have such tremendous gratitude, respect, and admiration for both Mark and for Millie that this exists and that we can have these inductions and bring these awesome inductees into this Hall of Fame. It's also just such a great pleasure for me to come and be with people whose passion we share and whose lives that, you know, we've all been with over the years. It's really what matters. And I guess the older we get, the more we appreciate that. And the fact that we have history and community in a sport that's just amazing and special. I want to give a special thanks to Tyler, who's done so much for this year's event. It's always great to see you and Amy, and thank you for doing all that you've done. So it's my great pleasure to congratulate this awesome group of inductees this year. Patty, Linda, Mary Ellen, and Ann. It's such a privilege to be inducted into this special hall, and I congratulate you. And to the introducers, Frank Brennan, Amy Bryant, Tam O'Shaughnessy, who have played such pivotal roles in the fact that you are here tonight receiving these awards. So congratulations to you as well. So just and Billy, I just have to say it's so special having you here tonight. So just standing here at this moment in Mark's memory, there's nothing short of a gift. And what I want the inductees who are being honored tonight to understand that this is not just an award, but it's a little piece of legacy that will long live through you. So congratulations. Our first inductee to be recognized tonight is Patty Findig-McCain. Congratulations, Patty, and let's roll the video.
Patty Fendick-McCain's extensive tennis career skyrocketed during her college days at Stanford University. Her strong performances earned her major awards, including 2 NCAA singles titles, MVP of the NCAA's All-Decade Team for the 1980s, and she was selected as the NCAA Division I Women's Tennis Most Outstanding Student Athlete of the sport's first 25 years. Catapulting off her impressive college work, Patty's professional tennis career reached some amazing heights, including the number 4 world ranking in doubles and number 19 in singles. Patty's trophy cabinet filled with each passing tournament as she collected 25 WTA titles in doubles and 3 more in singles. In 1989, Patty competed in the Whiteman Cup with partner Lori McNeil in Williamsburg, Virginia. The annual tournament pitted women's tennis players from the U.S. against players from Great Britain. With Patty's help, the U.S. swept Great Britain 7-0. Started in 1923, this would be the annual tournament's final year. After reaching the Australian Open doubles finals in 1988, she came back 3 years later and took the title with partner Mary Jo Fernandez. Patty carried her ability to relate to other players into a 17-year coaching career, 8 of which were spent at the University of Washington, where she built the program into a top 5 NCAA Division I tennis program, and in 2004 was named the ITA Wilson National Coach of the Year. Her motto for her players as she built up the program was "Just keep swimming." Patty spent 9 years transferring the countless lessons learned during her college and professional careers into coaching the University of Texas women's tennis team. The team ranked in the top 25 ITA polls 7 times under Patty's leadership, capturing 1 Big 12 championship, 2 Big 12 tournament titles, and made 9 NCAA championship appearances. As a star athlete and legendary coach, Patty has led the charge to victory throughout her illustrious career, but she wasn't afraid to ask for help when she needed it. Patty Fendick-McCain, ITA Women's Collegiate Tennis Hall of Fame,
Class of 2019.
It's my great honor to welcome Frank Brennan, a longtime great friend and coach to me back in the day when I was a junior, to this stage to introduce Patty. Frank Brennan. Frank is a 2006 ITA Women's Collegiate Hall of Fame inductee and served as Stanford women's tennis coach from 1979 to 2000. He was recognized by the ITA as Coach of the Decade for the 1980s and the 1990s, coached his teams to 10 NCAA titles, and was named the Pac-12 Coach of the Century. Frank Brennan.
Coach of the Century sounds a little obnoxious. I told you not to put that in. Tyler, I'm going to get you. Nice to have royalty here tonight, Billie Jean King, the 11th Brennan. I'm one of 10, and Billie's number 11. We go back even further than anybody in this room. Anyway, Patty Fendick, you saw what she did. I'd like to tell you where she came from. She didn't always look like that. Her mother brought her to Stanford. I think she was a junior in high school. She looked like she was in 8th grade. And her mother says, we're thinking of skipping her senior year and letting her come to Stanford. I think she can get in. I took one look at Patty and I said, you know, this girl can play tennis, but she's so tiny and she's got to get a little bigger. So I put the nix on that, sent her back to Sacramento. She ended up down in Balletiere's for a year, trying to study under the covers with a flashlight. We had some great stories. And she did end up at Stanford, obviously. And she was one of the great ones. She was the first one to win back-to-back NCAA championships. And she came back. She was of that era where they were turning pro pretty quickly, and she waited till she graduated to turn pro. And I was very happy about that. You can't tell from this video, but she She was very quick. She had a big forehand, and she was an unbelievable competitor. She was always ready. She did not want to lose to anybody. It just shocks me nowadays how somebody can lose to somebody in an unimportant tournament. There was no such thing for Patty Fendick. There was no unimportant tournament. She was going to win, or she'd find you in the parking lot and ride you down with her truck. No, she didn't have a truck. She had a small car, but she still would try to do that. She was very coachable, as long as she thought it was her idea. So it was very interesting how to get her to come around to that. But she was great. She was a star. She enjoyed being a star. You know, we had girls at Stanford that said, "Coach, I don't want to be on the front courts. Everybody's watching up there. Can I be on the back court? Can I play number 4 and not be in the stadium?" Patty not only wanted to be in the stadium every match, she wanted to know why there wasn't more people there. You know, there was only 500. Where was 600, 700, 1,000 for the UCLA match? Then she was happy. She was great. You already heard that she was the most outstanding student-athlete player for that first 25 years of NCAA tennis, which is pretty amazing to be voted with all those stars competing with her. So anyway, Patty's going to say a few words, and hopefully she'll be gentle with her old coach. But I'll just finish by saying she had a motor. She was, you know, if you're in the coaching business, you hear about the motor. Well, Patty had a motor. And I'll tell you, her tank was never empty. She was an unbelievable competitor. So let's hear it for Patty Fendick.
Patty, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
What does it mean to be inducted into this Hall of Fame, the ITA Collegiate Women's Tennis Hall of Fame?
Well, it's a great honor, and I look at it as being able to represent Stanford University. They gave me an incredible opportunity, especially Frank Brennan, who, you know, took a chance on me really, and offered me a scholarship to play at Stanford. And you know, I really just look at this as something that you know, I can be an ambassador for Stanford tennis, and I'm very thankful and humbled by the opportunity.
The college game is so important. You went on to have an outstanding professional career, but how much did that college experience mean to you?
Well, I think college, for anybody, you learn so many things about yourself, and you evolve as a person throughout. And again, you know, I was very lucky to have Frank help me along the way. I had some very difficult times during college that he helped me through, and my best friend Ginny and my mom, obviously. So I was very thankful to have that support system in my life. And, you know, I just really can't say enough about how they got me through those ups and downs of college, especially college tennis. My experience started off a little bit rocky academically and motivation-wise, because I had been playing on the pro tour as an amateur for a little over a year by the time I went to Stanford. So learning to weather the ups and downs through hard work and perseverance is something that I was able to take away from that experience for the entire 4 years, and then adapt it to my professional career. So on those really tough weeks on the tour, because as you know, if you have a week where you don't lose, you know, it's an amazing year for you. Mm-hmm. So being able to take that and adapt it to that environment was incredibly helpful.
And you took it and created an outstanding coaching career. How did the game prepare you, both the tennis college game and the professional game, in moving to the coaching level and teaching other players, students?
Well, it's interesting you bring that up. I really had no coaching aspirations whatsoever. I wasn't coaching at the time that Barbara Hedges at the University of Washington called me and gave me an incredible opportunity to step in as a head coach right away. You know, my husband, Scott, was the coach at Cal before going on and coaching on the ATP Tour and coaching me for a little while on the WTA Tour. So he was a great resource, and so was Frank. I called Frank and spoke to him at length about, gosh, you know, what am I doing going into this? But being on the WTA Tour for so long, and that was a time when, you know, a lot of us didn't have coaches, and so, you know, my teammates from Stanford and a lot of other people that were in college, we kind of helped each other out. So we sort of coached each other. And I think that really prepared me to be able to do a good job coaching at the Division I level. And, I can't say enough about having those opportunities on the tour where, there was so much camaraderie. And, Mary Ann Wardell in particular, we would go out and, hey, what am I doing wrong on this? What am I doing right on that? And, you just learn to learn how to help others, really. And as far as helping the kids that I coached, there wasn't anything that they went through that I hadn't been through, either, as a junior player, as a college player, as a professional player. I kind of ran the gamut. So I felt like I was really able to help them and draw upon my experiences in both college and the pros to do that.
Sounds like it prepared you not only for coaching, but for life.
Absolutely. Parenthood of teenagers.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Frank. It's quite an honor to be here tonight, and especially I wanted to congratulate my fellow inductees and also to thank Tyler and the ITA and William and Mary for this great honor and for all the hard work that everybody put in. Frank was actually quite kind to me. I was a little nervous. This is the third time we've done this, and it's still working out for me, so we're good. I wanted to acknowledge a couple of people before I start because, as you all know, that tennis is such a journey, and I was very lucky to have a couple of people that came before me that kind of paved the road for me. One of them was Alicia Moulton. She was supposed to come last year. You may know Alicia. And she's from my hometown of Sacramento, and she went to my high school before I went to the same high school. She went to Stanford before I went to Stanford, and she went and played full-time on the tour before I did. And without her in front of me, I don't think I would have known what that looked like and how to emulate that. So I know she couldn't be here tonight, but I just wanted to acknowledge that. And my fellow inductee and teammate, Linda Gates, I don't even know if she knows how much of an inspiration she was to me, especially when we were younger. I had entire pages in my diary dedicated to Linda. She doesn't know this. And she beat the crap out of me for so many years, and it was just demoralizing. But in my diary, I just always had, I'm going to work harder. I'm going to be good enough to compete with Linda. And I just wanted you to know that you really inspired me. And I got to follow her to Stanford, too. It seemed like I followed everybody. Probably the most life-changing person for me was Frank. He said to be kind to him. I couldn't imagine not being kind. He took a chance on me. He was very nice about what he said, but he really did take a chance on me at Stanford, and he was a mentor and a father figure for me when I needed it the most, and I couldn't thank him enough for everything that he's done for me. Not only did he mentor me and help guide me and help me evolve as a person all through Stanford. When I decided to go into coaching, he asked me, like, what are you, crazy? You want to go into coaching? You've never coached. And I was able to call him and talk to him, and he guided me through that process. And even when I was competing against him, he was still trying to coach me. So I don't know what happened there, but it was great. So for me, my college experience started a little bit bumpy. I had been playing on the WTA Tour for about a year before I went to school. A lot of us did that back then. We played as amateurs. The money wasn't what it is now. And when I showed up to Stanford, I'd kind of taken a beating over the summer before I got there, and I was a little bit down. My academics suffered a little bit at the beginning, and I just sort of lost my motivation at the beginning of school. And all of you college girls out there that are playing now, you know the ups and downs, and I'm sure you're going through them right now. Well, Frank had a great way of inspiring us when we were at school. He had the fall challenge matches. So this was basically like lighting a hand grenade and throwing it in a room and seeing what'll happen, because my teams, and a couple of them are here now, Kate Gumpert and Linda, Leanne Eldridge, Steph Savides, we were a tough pack. And we tried to kill each other like you cannot believe. And Frank would just go, what have I done when these things happened? And it was something else. You can't believe it. But then we just would refocus our energies, and then by the time spring came, things worked out for us. We bonded as a team, and it's kind of like how you are with your siblings. You can beat on your siblings all day long and twice on Sunday, but if somebody else tries to mess with them, they're going to hear it from you, right? Well, that's kind of how we were. We came together, my freshman year in particular, and in the spring we won the NCAA championships. And I still remember the elation I felt that freshman year, going through that with all of my teammates who were feeling exactly like I felt at the exact same time. I mean, it was incredible. And we danced until 5 a.m. at the Bings, who hosted us. And, back then they played the NCAA tournament. They started the individuals like the next day after you won the team competition. Now they're a little bit nicer. They give you a day. And I don't need to tell you how that worked out for me, because I had an 8 a.m. match my freshman year. So it didn't go well that year. Fortunately, I righted the ship later. So, as you know, there's a lot of ups and downs in college tennis, and probably the lesson that I learned the most through all of that was, through hard work and perseverance, you can really ride out the hard times. There are going to be those hard times, but you need to celebrate those wins when you do get them. One of the things that I learned the most in college tennis, and people have asked me this a lot, I think that I gained the confidence to work hard no matter what. Sometimes people don't want to work hard because they're afraid of how it will turn out. Like, well, if I work hard and I lose, what does that mean for me? I learned then that no matter what, I was going to work as hard as I possibly could. I was lucky enough to have my best friend, Ginny, who's here. I went through a really bumpy time my junior year. Frank didn't know what to do with me. He was up in arms. One of my dear friends now, who is my teammate, Marianne Wardell, we were actually nicknamed Slump and Wreck. I was Wreck, she was Slump. And somehow he didn't know what to do with us, but Ginny became my therapist, and we worked it out and turned everything around that year and won the NCAA championships again in Austin, which is a special place for me as I went back there and coached at Texas. But as you can see, I'm a 5'5" woman, and I was in a 5'10" world when I was playing. And I was lucky enough to have a mom who believed that if you worked hard and wanted it badly enough, and believed in yourself, that you could accomplish anything. I'm a first-generation college graduate. Neither of my parents went to college. Not only did I get there, I have a Stanford degree, and that's something very special, and something special to my mom as well, who we lost a while ago, but I'm sure she's up there. She loved a great party. She would have loved this. I also was very fortunate to find my husband, Scott, who is as passionate about tennis, if not more. He's probably more passionate. Wouldn't you say he's more passionate? Probably. But at any rate, we have the same ideals about work ethic, and what you put in, you get out. We're very lucky to have passed on that same work ethic and those same ideals to our kids. Two of my kids are here now. My daughter Keegan, who is going to be playing tennis this year, she started at UTSA. And she's taken a completely different journey and path than either Scott or I did, and she amazes us every day, and super proud of what she's going through and going to accomplish, I'm sure. My daughter Haley, who probably chose something the opposite of tennis because of that, and has chosen a sport that I don't know that much about, but I get to learn through her every day, and it's exciting to see her go after something that's completely new to me, and just to see how hard she works at it as well. My son's our little taskmaster. We couldn't talk him into coming tonight. He's too involved in something, but it's the same thing. It's an incredible thing when you see your ideals come through your kids, and it comes back to you in so many different ways. The next person that I wanted to mention was my little friend Gracie Dobson here. She's kind of my project. I started her in tennis. She was acting actually, and very good actress, and decided that to get off the treadmill that her manager put her on. So I started teaching her, and now she's a national ranked player in Texas and starting to pursue national. And I'm so proud and pleased that she could be here with me tonight. And her mother Jocelyn, who's a dear friend of mine and has been helping me kind of transform into something other than just a full-time tennis person, and we've had the opportunity to do some great things for homeless students, and I'm looking forward to what else we can do in the future. But I thank them for being here because their journey here was epic and biblical. They finally made it in. They went all over the United States, but I'm so happy they made it here tonight. So it wouldn't be an induction speech when you have student athletes in the room, and I was a coach for 17 years, so I'm going to impart some wisdom. My mantra has always been hard work pays off, okay? This really defines who you are. It defines how you're going to react to stress and to pressure and to adversity. It gains you the respect of your peers and others. Hard work doesn't necessarily guarantee you the chance to win. Hard work guarantees you the opportunity to win. And with that, I will leave you, and thank you so much for this honor.
Our next inductee to be recognized and honored tonight is Linda Gates. Congratulations, Linda, and let's now roll your video.
From the moment she picked up a tennis racket, Linda Gates was on a trajectory for greatness. By the age of 14, she was competing in her first USTA national tournament. Her teen years were chock full of awards, including a number 16 ranking in juniors national singles, a number 1 ranking in Northern California's age 18 bracket for singles and doubles, and a number 1 ranking in juniors national doubles. But winning was only part of the game. Linda was a true sportsman at heart, and that quality was recognized by the tennis community when she won the National Sportsmanship Award in 1982 for the girls 18s division. Linda's career at Stanford University was highly decorated. Under the wing of legendary college tennis coach Frank Brennan, she was a 4-time All-American, NCAA team champion, 2-time NCAA doubles champion, and both NCAA singles and doubles champion in 1985. In 1984, Linda received the coveted Arthur Ashe Award. To her, this was one of the shining accomplishments of her career. The award recognizes sportsmanship, leadership, and character, all of which Linda displayed on and off the court. She also received the Broderick Award as National Collegiate Player of the Year, which was presented to her by Elizabeth Dole. Her time on the Stanford tennis team was filled not only with accolades, but also with friendship. Though Linda's professional career was cut short due to a shoulder injury, she accomplished a lot in a single year on the pro circuit. She advanced to the quarterfinals in the Australian Open, earned singles and doubles titles at the OTD International, reached the finals of the Japan Open, and made it to the round of 32 at the US Open. Linda played her final tournament as a pro in 1986, where she reached the finals. Though retired from professional tennis, she served as a volunteer coach for both Santa Clara and her alma mater, Stanford. And in 2001, Linda was inducted into the Stanford University Hall of Fame. Linda Gates, ITA Women's Collegiate Tennis Hall of Fame,
Class of 2019.
And now, once again, Frank is on stage to introduce Linda.
You know, you could say coach of the decade, coach of the century one more time. It wouldn't kill you.
Well, I thought about your USPTA award you just got 3 days ago.
Thank you, Betsy. It's a great honor to be inducting 2 of my players tonight, and I can't think of 2 more worthy players. Going back to Linda, she came up in Northern California, and I actually bumped into her at an indoor court way back when, and here's this kid with his Stanford hat on, and she practically knocked me over, and she said, you know, I'm coming to Stanford someday. And I said, okay, kid, get out of the way. We were practicing, so I said, who is that kid? Well, that's Linda Gates. She's pretty good. So I checked her out and kept an eye on her, and believe it or not, I was such a good recruiter, I got her for half a scholarship back in 1982, which I quickly made up to her the next year and with another scholarship, and I think her senior year I gave you a Corvette. Is that right? All right. Sherry Stevens writing down NCAA violations. I'm retired. You can't get me now. It's the statute of limitations has run out. You heard about Linda's career. She did win a lot of sportsmanship awards, like everyone. And that became a little bit of a problem for a coach. because she was extremely generous on the line calls. Matter of fact, we had the Gates rule, which meant that whoever she played doubles with, they made all the line calls. Linda was not allowed to call lines because she was overly generous. Elise Bergen was her doubles partner for most of that period, and Elise had absolutely no trouble calling the ball out. She was, she'll always go down in history for me as the player who didn't get to play. She turned pro after her senior year, where she was the first player to win singles and doubles at the NCAA. And she goes off to pursue her pro career. Hadn't really prepared by playing a lot of pro stuff. I think she was 280 in the world or something, and off she goes. Well, she was good enough, and she had a great one-handed backhand. If you saw Federer's backhand, you've seen her backhand. And she went up in the rankings like a rocket, and by the end of the year, she was taking Gabrielle Sabatini to a tough match at the Japan Open final. So she finished up 58 in the world that year, and then she ended up with Tommy John surgery. So we'll always wonder, how good could she have been? She really had it all. She had the whole package. Extremely competitive, great athlete, big serve, big backhand, big everything, and she was easy to coach. Patty was, I had to be a little more delicate with Patty, but Linda was like a sponge. She was like, yeah, whatever. Matter of fact, my wife coached her one match and she won, so that was nothing, my wife was very good, but so we'll never know how good she really was, but whether she'd be top 20 or top 10 in the world, I don't know. We'll have to find out, but as a wife and a mother and a friend, she's top 10 in the world for me. So let's hear it for Linda Gates.
Linda, congratulations.
Thank you very much. No, it's quite an honor.
What does it mean to you to be inducted into the ITA Collegiate Women's Tennis Hall of Fame?
Well, it's an incredible honor. Just seeing the museum last night with all of the people that are showcased in there, I just feel I'm in a state of awe to be part of that group. And so many of the people I had seen growing up and had played with and, played doubles with. So it's just wonderful to be included with that group.
It's the College Hall of Fame. What did the college tennis experience mean to you, and why was that so important to you?
Well, at the time, it was it just happened organically. It was just kind of serendipitous and fortuitous that I ended up making my way into the college tennis arena. And then it was just an unbelievable place to improve and to develop, not only as a human being, and a tennis player, and to be able to have coaching from Frank, to have somebody who has your interest at heart for 4 years, and to be able to work with you to develop for those 4 years is a really special opportunity.
Certainly, a lot of players turn professional and don't go through the college experience, don't have that college experience. How did that help you prepare for life after college?
Right. Well, I think, first of all, it was time to mature. I think everybody at that age is going through a maturing process. So it was a great opportunity to meet other people with other interests, learn about other academic interests, and then to carry on friendships from that point on, that you reconnected with people that were doing different things. And I think not having the college experience, you would not have that opportunity.
Talk about, if you would, your coach at Stanford, Frank Brennan. Mm-hmm. We might have to have an extra wing for all the players he's brought in and players he's coached. Talk about Frank, if you would.
Yeah. So Frank was incredible. As a college coach, he took pressure off of us, which was very key. We had very high performing people with high standards and high expectations. And so to get the most out of us, he had to really maneuver and not be heavy-handed in any way. And he let us develop as players ourselves with our own special, unique strengths and weaknesses, and didn't try to put us into any sort of box. And so he was able to recruit. I think a lot of coaches tend to recruit players that fit their mold. And Frank was able to recruit people that didn't fit a mold. And he didn't try to fit anybody into a mold. And he just allowed them to develop to their best as to who they were. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why he has had so much success.
Great. Again, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Oh boy, thank you, Frank. A lot of stories. It was wonderful to hear what Patty had to say. It brought back a lot of memories. Thank you to everyone who has put together this just phenomenal event. I'm so proud to be here tonight. Thank you to Betsy and Mark and Millie for creating this beautiful museum to preserve the stories and history of women's collegiate tennis. And thank you very much to Tyler and Kelsey for all the work that you've put in. I'm honored to receive this award tonight and grateful for the opportunity to share my story of joy and serendipity with you. My introduction to tennis started indirectly with my older brother, Jeff, who is here tonight. From my earliest memory, I was determined to spend as much time with Jeff, any way I could. That meant wrestling, boxing, playing basketball and tackle football, sorting baseball cards, and riding along to watch his tennis lessons and tournaments. My transition from tag-along spectator to tournament player at age 7 curiously coincided with the arrival of 4 boys who moved in the house across the street. Their father had just retired as a two-way player for the Philadelphia Eagles, and I eagerly participated in the football scrimmages and kill the carrier games on their front yard pitch. When I suffered a hairline fracture in one of the games, I found myself quickly enrolled in back-to-back tennis tournaments and 3 weeks at Tony Trabert's tennis camp, where my mother hoped I would find a less dangerous passion. It worked. Soon after, I devoured Billie Jean King's autobiography and became fast friends with our home backboard. My parents took me to see the Virginia Slims in Oakland, where I was transfixed by the creative all-court styles of Billie Jean, Yvonne Goolagong, and Martina Navratilova. On a family vacation to Palm Springs, I participated in patriotic chants as former USC standouts Stan Smith, Bob Lutz, and Raul Ramirez dazzled the crowd in a US-Mexico Davis Cup match. Now, I admit I was actually more drawn to the hot dog and lemonade stands at those events, but the magic of these occasions indelibly wore off on me. Just a short drive from our house, shoehorned into the back parking lot of the high school I would later attend, was Peninsula Tennis Club, where the U.S. National Hardcourt Championships took place each summer. I became a groupie, unwanted, I'm sure, to the boys from Hawaii who stayed at our house. I watched the Louie sisters, the Tenney sisters, Chris Evert, Eliza Pandy, Betsy Nagelsen, and the list goes on. And when I finally became old enough to ball girl for the singles final, Ann Smith growled that I could clear the balls at the net between serves only if I was fast enough. Oh my God, the intensity, the pressure, the drama. I was totally hooked. I became enamored with college tennis when my parents started taking me to the indoor matches at Maples Pavilion at Stanford. I watched Lili Faroud, Barbara and Kathy Jordan, Susie Hagee and Diane Morrison, Roscoe Tanner, the Mayer brothers, John McEnroe to mention a few. It became my dream to play on the green, rolled-out carpet at Maples Pavilion, crowds cheering in the basketball bleachers, just 30 minutes from my home and down the street from the coolest-looking student housing I could imagine, which unbeknownst to me at the time was Fraternity Row. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was slowly becoming a tennis junkie. My indoctrination into tennis was not the result of high-level academies or countless hours of drilling. It was exposure to the aura of excitement around the events and performers in the tennis universe of the 70s. I loved tournaments, the friends I made, the places I traveled to, the families who provided housing, the gossip, the quest for trophies, the whole thing. A friend recently told me the smile you wear on your face is the joy in your heart. On the tennis court, I smiled a lot. Fast forward to 1981. I made it to the National Hardcourt Championships at Peninsula Tennis Club, where I reached my first Nationals doubles final with Gretchen Rush. To my unexpected delight, Frank Brennan and Stanford decided to take a risk on me and my erratic, unpredictably evolving game. Thank you, Frank, for giving me a chance, and thank you for never telling me to just keep the ball in the court. While this would have been a solution to my obvious weakness, I am grateful that you encouraged me instead to tame my strengths and had faith that it would all come together. A commentator once described my game as feast or famine. Thank you, Frank, for not putting my game on a diet. Tennis had always presented me with a number of conflicting choices: fun versus competition, friend versus foe, taking risk versus don't miss. In college, these were joined by individual versus team, academics versus tennis, pizza and beer versus salad bar, and party time versus pre-match bedtime. These are choices I relished having. As you know, women's tennis is competitive at all levels. Even at the USTA 3-5 level, I currently have friends who don black grease under their eyes and pirate tattoos as part of their pre-match ritual. Our Stanford team was no different. We did whatever we could to create a team out of individuals. We had nicknames: Gator, Tex, Bergie, Scooter, made game day sweatshirts, created rival team life-size targets before big matches, and even tried cigar and poker games to create team unity. Winning team championships demanded us to put aside personal differences and individual competitive desires. There was no greater exhilaration for me than to have teammates, schoolmates, and the greater community cheering us on to victory. Upon graduation in 1985, when I left the cocoon of Stanford and my friends and my tennis team family, I was grateful to be moving on to a professional tour that was full of former college players who provided camaraderie and mentorship in what could otherwise be a lonely, cutthroat environment. When I made my debut into the US Open in 1985, I joined almost 30 former, current, or future college players in the women's main draw. Of the 8 Americans who made it to the round of 16, 4 were ex-college players, 3 from Stanford, I might add, including Kate Gompert, and 5 more made it to the round of 32. And though Patty, who had just completed her sophomore year, lost in the first round, sorry, it was to eventual semifinalist Steffi Graf, 7-5 in the third. As it turned out, my tennis tour dream only lasted 6 months. Shoulder pain, which arrived one morning with no warning, led to 3 shoulder surgeries and 2.5 years of physical therapy. While this was devastating, my college education and the confidence and friendships that came with it enabled me to move on and find purpose and passion in other career paths and areas of my life. If any teenager asks me if they should pursue college tennis, I say yes, for the experience. Who would want to miss it? And yes, your time may come. Thank you to everybody who's taken time out of their busy schedules to come here and celebrate us tonight. Thank you.
Our next inductee to be recognized and honored tonight is Mary Ellen Grant Gordon. Congratulations, Mary Ellen, and let's roll your video.
Mary Ellen Gordon first picked up a tennis racket at the age of 6 when she joined her parents for a family game. From that day forward, tennis played a major role in her life. She looked up to the tennis greats like Billie Jean King, who she was ecstatic to meet. As Mary progressed through her youth, she honed her skills and established a habit of winning. When she began her college career at Emory University, her list of achievements grew and grew. She did more than just win. She did what no player had ever done before. Mary was the first female in conference history to receive the MVP award every single year of her career. She was also the first player in NCAA history to win national doubles titles all 4 years while playing for Emory. Mary's adoration for tennis evolved during her years at Emory. She loved the team aspect of college tennis. She says that playing not just for herself, but also for her teammates helped her find the right motivation to play her best tennis. Though she spearheaded Emory's team NCAA Division III National Championships in 2003 and 2004, Mary found the greatest joy in the journey. The hard work and stress involved in winning titles isn't always fun. Mary understood at a young age the importance of being in the moment and cherishing the friendships she made along the way. In 2003 and 2004, Mary won the NCAA Singles Championships. During her final year, she was awarded the Division III National Senior Player of the Year. By the end of her time at Emory University, Mary had amassed an astounding 115 singles wins, a school record. Her awards were even more special at Emory because they came at a time when her father was the athletic director at the college. In 2014, Mary was inducted in the Emory Hall of Fame. During her 4 years at Emory, she set the bar for women's tennis players to come. Mary Ellen Gordon, ITA Women's Collegiate Tennis Hall of Fame,
Class of 2019.
It's my great pleasure to ask Amy Bryant to come to the stage to introduce Mary Ellen. Amy Bryant is the first female in NCAA history to win the national team championships as a coach and player. She did the former 6 times at Emory as Emory's women's tennis coach, and the latter as a player on Emory's 1996 national championship team. Amy Bryant.
Thank you for that. Earlier we heard Patty mention the 5'10" world of college tennis, and Mary Ellen has a few inches on that. So I was really relieved that this is the College Tennis Hall of Fame and not the College Sports Hall of Fame, because there's nothing Mary Ellen dislikes more than being asked, are you a volleyball or a basketball player? Here, she is among friends and fellow players who respect her craft as a tall tennis player. As I considered how I wanted to introduce Mary Ellen to you all, I was torn. It's no secret that she was an amazing tennis player and a fierce competitor. She played for me at Emory from 2000 to 2004, and when she left, she was an 8-time national champion, which made her the most decorated female player in NCAA history in any division. She was the first player in NCAA history to win the national doubles championship 4 years in a row, and the first female player in NCAA history to win back-to-back triple crowns by winning the singles, doubles, and team national championships her junior and senior years. Believe it or not, this barely skims the surface of Mary Ellen's accomplishments during her time at Emory. So when I said I was torn, it was because I didn't want to stand up here and simply tell you what Mary Ellen has done for this sport. Even more impressive than her accolades was her embodiment of what it truly means to be an Emory women's tennis player. In light of all of her accomplishments, she was a humble ambassador for the team and our program. She was honestly one of the easiest players I ever coached. Yes, because she could effortlessly execute pretty much anything I asked her to do on the court. And then there's that piece about her winning pretty much every match she played. But she was mainly so easy to coach because she never had to be taught what it meant to be a team player. She already got it. She was a naturally selfless human being with a strong moral compass. She was the rock and captain for our team that players could always count on to lend a helping hand or a listening ear. Competitors respected her for being fair, kind, and fun to play. Mary Ellen also had the self-awareness to realize that winning was not everything. She actually coined the team mantra, "Enjoy the journey," her junior year, an expression representing the love of all the ups and downs of sports and life, a verification of respecting the process that is required for growth, and a reminder to appreciate the people who are with you in the moment. And 15 years later, That message still lays the foundation for everything we are at Emory Women's Tennis. I learned a lot from Mary Ellen and her wisdom beyond her years. She remains an icon and a familiar face for the girls on our team. And I've even started recruiting baby Alex for the men's tennis team at Emory because, well, there's no doubt he's going to be tall. There's also no doubt he will be a tennis player, not a volleyball player or a basketball player. I'm better for having known Mary Ellen, and our program is better for having her be a part of it. She's been an integral part of Emory Women's Tennis and our family for 20 years now, and I know she'll continue to be for many years to come. So it is with immense pride and admiration that I introduce you today to Mary Ellen Gordon Grant.
First of all, Mary Ellen, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
What does it mean to you to be inducted into the ITA Collegiate Hall of Fame?
It's truly an honor to be inducted into the College Tennis Hall of Fame. I know this doesn't happen for Division III athletes very often, so as a Division III athlete, I'm extra thankful for the opportunity. And I'm proud to be here on behalf of my coaches and my teammates and my family and my university, and they really put a lot of effort and commitment into my success, so I'm thankful to be here.
Describe your college tennis experience. Why was it so important to you going forward?
When I think about my college tennis experience and what was special about it, I really just think about how much fun I had as a college tennis player. And of course it was fun because we won a lot, but when I think about my best memories, a lot of them are off the court and just hanging out with my teammates. I had a great time, and that transition for tennis from an individual sport in juniors to a team sport in college really helped me a lot. I think playing for a team, I was able to find a new level and new things to play for, and it helped me take my game to a new level that I don't even think I knew I had.
How did that college tennis experience help you prepare for life after college?
I've been able to apply a lot of the things that I learned playing college tennis in my life after college. I learned how to operate in a team environment and use my individual strengths to contribute to team goals. It gave me a lot of leadership opportunities, and then it also really taught me how to harness that desire and that competitive spirit and the desire to win. And I think that's something that doesn't ever really go away, and I've also been able to figure out how to apply that in my career as well.
You are referred to as the most decorated woman in the history of college tennis. How does that make you feel?
Still, it's funny to hear you say that. It's still a little bit difficult to wrap my head around it. I'll say that my senior year, I had no idea that there were any records on the line, and I was thankful for that, so I was able to just relax and play. But it's really fun. It's fun to hear people say it. I still can't believe that they're saying it about me, but it really is nice to be recognized for those efforts. All right, this is a little bit nuts. I wanted to start by thanking the nominating committee for recognizing my team's success and my success, and also for just being the governing body for college tennis. As you heard in the video, I think I found a lot of success at Emory because tennis transitioned from an individual sport to a team sport, and I just love the idea of playing for a team. You saw in the video, there's actually a picture of me with Billie Jean in the Hall of Fame display as well. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah, I'm sure you do. No. Well, I was 9 years old, and we used to have the Atlanta Thunder tennis team in Atlanta, and my parents talked a lot about all of the women in sports that came before me and laid the groundwork. So it was an honor to meet you then, and it's an honor to have you here now. I also want to say congratulations to my fellow inductees. Like I said, this is something that doesn't happen a lot for Division III athletes, so I'm just thankful to be by your side tonight. I also want to thank my family. My husband, John, is here with my in-laws, Bruce and Patty. You'll hear my baby there. He's 5 months old. It's been an interesting weekend, his first flight. I know that there's a lot of preparation and dedication and perseverance that was required to win 8 national championships, but that was also required to travel with a baby to be here this weekend. I also want to thank my dad and his wife, Adrian, who are here. As you heard, my dad was an athletics director, and so I've grown up around Division III athletics my whole life, and so I recognize that this is an opportunity that doesn't come along very often, and I'm thankful for that. My brother and sister, Peter and Karen, are here as well. tennis success or any athletic endeavor is really a family effort, and they made a lot of sacrifices. My brother had to drive me to practice a lot. I actually had a similar story in that my brother started taking tennis lessons first. My dad was just telling the story that I got the last 5 minutes of the lesson, and I didn't understand that meant I also had to pick up all of the balls. My sister got dragged to a lot of tennis tournaments, and she would read a lot of books and make mud pies and hang out with all the other little siblings of the kids I was playing against. Unfortunately, my mom is not here this evening. She passed away just over 5 years ago, but I know she would have been really proud of this effort. She was the one that introduced me to tennis, and she loved the game, and she was happy for me to win. I would play matches, and she'd come over and she'd be like, "You did really well, honey. You really beat that girl." So she would have been so proud of this moment. She would have thought it was so cool. But I know she's here with me in spirit, and I was really thankful to see a picture with both my parents on display in the Hall of Fame. I also wanted to thank John Highcomb and his wife Rebecca, who are here tonight. John was my very first tennis coach when I was 8 years old, and he coached me all the way through until I went to college. He was responsible for a lot of my tennis success, but also for the fact that I had a lot of fun and that I stuck with it. Junior tennis can be a grind, but it was because of his tutelage that I stuck with it and made it to Emory. I also want to thank my coaches and teammates. Amy has tremendous commitment to creating not only successful tennis players, but good humans. She's more than a coach to me. We're good friends now. When I had my baby, she was one of the first people to show up with a meal and a pair of arms to hold my baby when I was just underwater a little bit. I also want to thank my teammates. My teammate Karina is here tonight. My teammates just made college tennis so much fun. Obviously, it's a lot of fun when you win, but just being around them was the highlight of my career. And I think of a lot of my best moments playing college tennis, and they happened off the court, not just on the court. I also have to thank my doubles partners, Anusha Natarajan and Jolynn Taylor-Greet. What you may not know is that when I won 2 individual singles titles, I actually had to play against my own doubles partner, Jolynn, in the finals. So a lot of my success in singles was actually due to the fact that we had the number 1 and 2 ranking in the country, so I had Jolynn pushing me to be a better singles player. So as much as we had to play against each other, I like to say that a lot of my success in singles was due to having her on my team. And just in closing, I just want to say that when I think about my path here because of my dad's time at Emory and with Division III athletics, my sports heroes growing up weren't just professional tennis players and professional athletes that I watched on TV or that I read about in books. I heard a lot of stories over the years about Division III athletes and other students that were playing at Emory, and I would hear about what brought them to Emory. I'd hear about their on-court and off-court endeavors and what they became when they left school. It wasn't always necessarily a professional athlete, but they were my sports heroes too. So I encourage you to seek and share the stories of other Division III and small college athletes, because you never know, they might inspire the next Hall of Famer. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Our final inductee to be recognized and honored tonight is Dr. Ann Lebedeff. Congratulations, Ann, and let's roll your video.
At a young age, Ann Lebedeff was fascinated by the game of tennis. Her dad was a tennis player who eventually built a court at the family's home. Ann's skills were promising. With each passing year, her stroke sharpened and her mental grit progressed. By 1972, she'd been a runner-up in the USTA National Girls 18 doubles, climbed to a number 6 USTA women's doubles ranking with partner Tam O'Shaughnessy, and was a co-captain of the USLTA Junior Whiteman Cup squad. In 1974, Ann won the USTA clay and grass court doubles titles, the USTA National Women's Intercollegiate Doubles title, and the New Zealand Women's Doubles Championships. She loved playing tennis, but it was the relationships that truly mattered to her. She cherished connecting with her fellow players on and off the court. Sportsmanship was a cornerstone of her playing style. She always strived to be the best, the most fair, and the kindest, because to her, that's what people will remember. Ann eventually took her love for tennis to the world of coaching. Not only did her players recognize her impressive abilities to bring out the passion and camaraderie in her teams, so did her peers. In 1980, she was voted Coach of the Year by the USTA Southwest Section, which was followed by an award for Conference Coach of the Year by the California Collegiate Athletic Association in 1985. 5 years later, the ITA presented Ann with the ITA Wilson Coach of the Year Award, an honor she would receive 4 more times throughout her career. Though her accolades were piling up, she stayed true to her form by remaining a humble and appreciative leader to her players. In 1999, Ann received the Rolex Meritorious Service Award. Nominated by the ITA Board of Directors, this award is given in recognition of an ITA coach who has gone above and beyond in their commitment and contributions to college tennis. Through countless awards, including being named ITA Wilson Coach of the Decade for the 1990s and over 650 wins, Ann continues to put relationships first, just as she did on her first day of coaching 40 years ago. After all, she continues to strive to be the best, the most fair, the kindest, because that's what people will remember. Ann Ledbedeff, ITA Women's Collegiate Tennis Hall of Fame,
Class of 2019.
So it is my great pleasure to ask Tam O'Shaughnessy to come to the stage to introduce Ann and to tell you a little bit about Tam. She grew up in California, played professional tennis on the fledgling WTA Tour from 1971 to 1974. She is co-founder and executive director of Sally Ride Science at UC San Diego, a nonprofit organization with a mission to inspire girls and boys of all backgrounds to study science and to imagine themselves in science and technology careers.
Let's see, before I introduce Ann Lebedeff, Billie Jean had made a video congratulations for Ann before she knew that she could come, so we're going to watch that.
Surprise, surprise. Hi, Ann. Anyway, thank you for being such a great inspiration, a terrific motivator, a great coach, a great professor, all the things that all the young ones have needed through the years. And I just can't thank you enough. And I look forward to seeing you, and congratulations on leaving such a great legacy and transitioning into your next chapter. So go have fun, you and Pam, and live it up, whatever you want. And I'll see you when it comes to the ITA Leadership Awards very soon, okay? Anyway, what a legacy. Thank you for everything you've done to give back to others. And every single student I've ever talked to, or any teen person that you've coached, thinks you are the greatest. I have never heard such great things, especially Jamie.
That was very nice, Billie Jean, and very true. I met Ann Lebedeff when we were young girls playing a junior tennis tournament in Southern California. I immediately liked her. I'm not sure why. She was quite goofy, but just I immediately liked her and connected with her. On the court, Ann was serious. She was a fierce competitor with a wicked forehand and an impassable net game. She loved playing up at net, chipping and charging. But off the court, Ann was fun-loving and very funny. Ann and I became very good friends. We also became doubles partners. We played together for 5 years, which, if you think about it, when you're a kid, well, actually, even you know, adults and the pros, they swap partners. They think the grass is greener. And Ann and I stuck together for 5 years, and we won our fair share of Southern California doubles titles and national doubles titles. And we had a lot of fun along the way. Whenever we weren't practicing or playing matches, Ann and I would play marathon ping pong matches and would eat our favorite Baskin Robbins ice cream. Would have, you know, I'd have a pint of vanilla on a table near the ping pong court, table. and Ann would have a pint of Homoka almond fudge. We liked ice cream. Ann and I have remained great friends all these years, more than half a century. As you heard in part, after junior tennis, Ann went on to have a successful college and an open-era tennis career. And then in 1975, she turned her attention towards a career in college tennis coaching. I could say the rest is history, and you've heard a little bit of accolades about her. I want to spend just a moment kind of savoring some of her extraordinary accomplishments, over 40-plus years devoted to coaching. Ann coached tennis at all levels, community college through NCAA Divisions 1, 2, and 3. And she had winning records at every single level. That speaks a lot to her abilities. She coached 74 All-Americans. She earned ITA Wilson National Coach of the Year 5 times. She was named ITA Wilson National Coach of the Decade for the 1990s. She was awarded the 2015 ITA Conant Meritorious Leadership Award. In 2017, Billie Jean came up with the idea and endowed the ITA Ann Lebedeff Leadership Award. And tonight, capping her remarkable career, she's being inducted into this wonderful and gorgeous Hall of Fame. You know, that's quite a career. But more importantly than all of the honors that Ann has received, over her coaching career, she has impacted the lives of countless student athletes on and off the court. Ann loves winning, but she never put winning above everything else. She was more concerned that her players became successful in life, earning their degrees and making wise choices. Ann showed her players by example how to work hard, how to keep fighting no matter the score or circumstance, how to win with humility, how to learn from losing, and how to live with integrity. Ann has earned an enduring place in tennis history. She is a symbol of excellence and leadership, and she is a beloved teacher, mentor, and friend. And now it is my great honor to bring Ann, the one and only Dr. Ann Lebedeff, up to the podium.
First of all, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. What does it mean to be inducted into the ITA Women's Collegiate Hall of Fame?
I have a lot of feelings about this. My mentors, former coaches, former players, peers, friends of mine that have been inducted, I'm in awe of those people and what they did for women's collegiate tennis. I grew up in an era of early Title IX, and so when I see Dr. Pittman, Dr. Johnson, Ann Valentine, Billie Jean, all these other people that helped me along the way, and for me to be able to be, in a sense, enshrined in the same Hall of Fame, to me is very humbling. I got into coaching because I loved it, and I think the biggest thing for me has been that it's all about the relationships that I formed with my players and with the people that helped me get there. So my feeling about being in the Hall of Fame is, I mean, it's the highest honor I think a coach can have.
It's about the college game, the women's college game, and you know, what did that experience playing college tennis mean to you?
God, I had the most fun in college tennis. I mean, I think I never really anticipated myself becoming a coach. I thought I was going to be a dietitian and work in a hospital, and then after training in a hospital and seeing all the heavy dietitians and they're smoking and drinking, and I thought, there's no way that I'm going to do that. So I thought, what do I like? I like athletics. And for me, playing college athletics was the most fun part of my day in college at San Diego State. So for me to be able to coach and to bring that type of fun environment, I mean, obviously competitive, but really fun environment where the kids learn to grow, mature. And then the number one thing when they come back and see each other is that, wow, I made friends, I had a great time, and what better thing could I have done in my life? And that's how I really look at it. And when I've had 40 years of coaching, and I look at that and I say, the greatest days for me were playing college tennis, but greater days were really coaching it.
And you had a great coaching career, and it meant so much to you moving on to coaching. But what about life and playing that college game? What did that teach you that prepared you for life afterwards?
You know, so many things. I think the thing is people believe that athletics lots of times is always about winning and winning and losing is a score. But the winning and losing, that part was about how to handle life, how to handle situations, how to handle people, how to be around teammates, how to have things not go your way. Tennis can be somewhat of a sort of a self-absorbed, singular world where, especially now, where players, you know, don't feel like they're so much on a team. College tennis brings that out, where you feel as though, wow, I can give back. I can give back to other players. I think college tennis taught me so much, and touring on the circuit, about who are your true friends, who are not. Trusting, I think really finding a way to be of service and mentoring. And that's something that I learned from, again, these women that were so powerful to me in my early careers, is that they taught me those things. I was very, very fortunate to be one of those women that was in that era. And I'm glad that I stopped coaching actually at this time, because it's a very different era now, and especially Division I.
This museum upstairs is filled with some greats, some legends, none greater than Billie Jean King.
Yeah.
Very few people have been inducted where Billie Jean King shows up and wants to help you celebrate the evening. What does that mean to you?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. It's probably one of the greatest honors is to have someone like Billie Jean come to this kind of a ceremony. I mean, she's been inducted. I saw her a couple weeks ago at the Open and had lunch with her, and you know, she wanted to come down here. I know she was in LA just recently with the Dodgers, and actually a library was named in her name at Long Beach. So for her to make that trip from coast to coast to come down to Williamsburg, I mean, it's awesome. I really don't have words for it. It's so much in my heart that she is giving. And it's not for me so much, it's that the kids that are here, and I have a lot of former players that are here, and other coaches and whoever else is attending, Billie Jean cares about college tennis, and she was part of that. And I think just for them to see her attend is way more than what I get from it. It's way more, it's so much more important for those kids to see that, wow, Billie Jean comes to our event. So it's outstanding that she's here.
Congratulations again.
Thanks so much. Well, I've had 2 years to prepare this speech, and I'm changing it again tonight. So here we go. First of all, I think when you spend 40 years in something, how do you spend 40 years in something? I loved what I did. I cannot say that I had a bad day in coaching. There were days that I enjoyed more than others, but I love the kids so much. And I know Mary Ellen and Linda and Patty, congratulations. I coached against all of you guys, and you know what? We never beat you guys one time. It is such an honor for me to be here, because so many of my mentors and the heroes in my life were these people that I saw in the Hall of Fame today. Dr. Ann Pittman, Dr. Joan Johnson, Flo Blanchard, Emily Foster. I can go on and on. History of tennis always fascinated me. And I was one of those kids early on who took World Tennis Magazine that Gladys Heldman had done, and Gladys got into the Hall of Fame a number of years ago. I was at that induction, and I read that thing cover to cover when I was a kid. There were no videos. There wasn't hardly anything. I mean, you had to go to a tournament. And where I learned about tennis was, fortunately, being able to be one of those kids that got to play early on in Southern Cal. I was from a middle-class family, and I thank my mom and dad, who are not here today. My dad got me involved with tennis. My mom drove me to the tournaments, and I wasn't a wealthy kid. I went to state college. I had the opportunity, though, of playing on a circuit early on, and you guys that are youngsters that are coming into the game, and I call you youngsters, it was a different time then. Tam and I were talking about this not too long ago. Playing at that time, before pro tennis came in, before Billie Jean and the 8 wonderful women started this circuit, we went to school and we played on junior circuits where, luckily Tam and I at that time, Billie Jean knows this, we took money, I called it money under the table. You know, I was lucky to get $25, $50 a week playing these tournaments where they wanted us to play in. Luckily Tam was cute and we could get in those tournaments, you know? And once in a while we won some rounds, and actually we had some really, really good years. Tam, are you looking at me kind of funny on that? But, you know, honestly, my career was really all about, I think, and I go back to this, my philosophy was all about that every person was important, every person. And the reason why I learned this early on is I don't even want to mention names because a lot of you know these people, but in junior tennis, and you guys know that played junior tennis, if you were seeded number 1 or you were a really good player, and it took me a while, I didn't start till I was 14, is that you won, people treated you like gold, and you were the best. And when you lost, you knew who your friends were, because they were the ones coming back and saying, hey, it's okay, no big deal. I was lucky to grow up in that era. We didn't have entourages. We didn't have coaches traveling with us. We couldn't afford it. I had the best time of my life. I can't tell you, playing at 15, 16, 17 at Lake Bluff and Peninsula Tennis Club and touring at these tournaments where, at that time, Margaret Court, Billie Jean, Nancy Ritchie, some of you guys know who I'm mentioning, some of you guys have no idea who I'm mentioning, is that it was a fabulous time to grow up. And I learned some things. I never thought I was going to be a coach. Never thought I was going to be a coach. Coaching wasn't really in, even though I knew Dr. Johnson, I knew Ann Pittman, it was never really an option for a lot of us. I was going to be a dietitian or go to medical school, and the kids on my team know that. I tell this story all the time. And I decided that, I thought, geez, I don't want to work in a hospital with, you know, crappy food and, you know, people that are overweight and dietitians that are eating chocolate and smoking. So, sorry if any, and actually I have Cindy as a dietitian on my team, so she knows. But I said, I'm going to go into, you know what, I'm going to be a coach. And I got a break. My break was when I was at, after San Diego State, and I was playing, but I chose to go the college route. I didn't choose to be one of those gals that took the challenge, which is Billie Jean saying it was really a challenge to start this pro circuit. I don't know if I was good enough or I didn't have enough courage, but I chose to go to school. And in a way that was really great for me because I loved college tennis. I was fortunate we won what was the NCAA doubles. I was a good doubles player. But more importantly, what I found out about all that about me was that I loved the team element. I loved being on a team, and I felt everybody on that team, even though my coach didn't do it at the time at San Diego State, every one of those kids was important. And so when I got the break, when I was at San Jose State and I had a half-time job until I was called up at University of Arizona, and the AD came and she called me up. She didn't even know me. She knew some friends that I knew, and she said, Ann, I want you to be the coach. And I was like 26 or something. I hadn't ever really coached a team. I became the head coach at University of Arizona. What was interesting is that, and some of my Arizona kids are here, and God, you guys, I'm just unbelievable that you guys are, my Arizona, my Pomona-Pitzer kids, my Cal Poly kids came all this way. Is that what I learned is that each kid, whether I had 25 people on that team, every person had value. And I think that came from me playing junior tennis and seeing those kids, and I don't want to say the names, treat some people so poorly when they weren't winning. I hope, and I always thought, that's why I like team sports, because everybody on a team, we all had value. I played hockey. I was a hockey player. I loved hockey, man. That was my best. Basketball and volleyball, but hockey. And tennis was the thing that drew me in as a coach. And I was the first woman, there was about 4 of us at University of Arizona that were hired by Mary Roby, Dr. Mary Roby, and we didn't have a 3-year contract and then you're gone. We had 1-year contracts, and if you performed to the sense that you were graduating kids, and this is in 1977 when I went to Arizona, that's what they wanted. And I taught history of sport. I taught anything they wanted me to teach, I taught. You learned how to teach gymnastics, you learned how to teach whatever, you did it. And a lot of you understand that. A lot of you don't understand what we went through then. But being that kind of a coach gave me all the opportunity to see the philosophies that I wanted to teach and use on my teams. And so somebody asked me, when I do speaking, how did you develop that? It was from all these great people that I knew. Ann Pittman, Carrie Melville, Karen Kransky, if any of you are old enough, the Australians that trained with us, Nancy Ritchie, Billie Jean, Rosie. Tam and I learned all of that. And then I learned it from the college coaches that I was lucky enough to see. Dr. Johnson, as I said, the gals that are here, Ann Valentine later on, Frank came up here, but those people to see what they were doing. And so I formed my own philosophy, and my philosophy is 3 things. It's about life, really. I've had a lot of medical problems, and I'll tell you, I don't take any day for granted. The last couple of years has been really, really eye-opening for me, because when I retired 2 years ago, I thought about my philosophy and I thought, how did it impact me? It was always about the kids. It was always about mentoring, because for me, it was about them learning from me how to mentor. And if I wasn't that kind of a coach, that's who I wanted to be. I wanted to be their teacher, and I would learn from them. And I think the third thing was giving back to something greater than yourself, and you can decide whatever that is, whether it's your profession, whether it's of service. For me, it was of service in tennis, because I found so many different ways to channel my energy, and I had a lot of energy, into, I don't care if it was stupid rankings, which all of us as coaches know, all these committees that we go on, but you have to do it, because you're teaching the rest of the kids on your team. Those things are important. Most of my players have not become coaches. Brittany's here tonight, Kelly's here tonight, Becca's here tonight. They were all assistant coaches for me. Sherry Stevens, one of my best friends that's sitting right here, who coaches at the University of San Diego, 35 years, was one of those players that became a great coach. And Sherry, I love you. You've done so much for the game. I have to thank my partner of 27 years, and that's Pam Dastrup, who I've learned so much from in life and about sticking with me through all the tough times that I've had in terms of medical stuff. My family from the East Coast, Susie and Greg, that came out here tonight, I thank you guys. I thank the committee, and I happen to be on the committee, so I have to thank myself too. I would say my biggest thing, Betsy and Mark starting it, Millie starting it, we were always saying that to get into the Hall of Fame, I hate to say this, you either had to, no, you know what, I'm not going to say it. Oh, go ahead and say it, Ann. Yeah, well, no. No, I'm not going to say it. There was criteria, so I'm not going to say it. So, but here's the thing. You guys that made the effort for my team, I think I have 20-some players here tonight. Oh my God. The reason why I do what I did those days on the courts when it was 110 degrees and I just was cussing myself out like, what in the hell am I doing out here? And somebody's blooping the ball back like Ranger or somebody. And I'm going, what in the hell am I doing? And I thought, you know what? I got off the court and I loved it. I loved it. I loved the battles. And like Tam said, I was a competitor. I love to compete. But the number one thing in my life that I feel is the most important thing is that you guys, you players, grew up through tennis because of all those experiences you had. And the relationships you have now and how I see you, and I said this the first day you came to practice, and you guys, we had a roast today, roast and day, luncheon, is the number one thing is the relationships you have with those people later on in life. The wins and the losses, great, they'll remain in your head. They go fast. But it's those people that are there for you later on in life. And so seeing you guys bring so much joy to my life today, I just can't even express it. And I don't want to cry because I want to say one other thing, one quote. Sammy, you gave me this thing, and I think it was a team that, see, I didn't even do any of my notes, right? Sammy, you gave me this thing, I'm putting it up. Pam and I just remodeled our house, and guess what? This is, I don't know if you remember this poster. Sammy, where are you at? Do you remember that poster you gave me? You don't? Geez, what kind of a memory, girl? Okay, I love this one. It says, a coach's worth is not found in their win-loss record or on their resume, but in the impact made in their players' lives. And I looked at that the other day and I go, that is going up on my wall. That is going up on my wall. I don't care about all these, this thing, that award. That is what I did for those years. And I hope I was successful at that. I loved doing what I did. And I don't know if I thanked everybody, but I hope I did. I'm very thankful for having this. We never had a Hall of Fame. When I was growing up, there's never anything like this. Billie Jean says, pressure is a privilege, and we've heard that. I don't know, the last 10 years or so, it's been coined, probably, Billie, I don't know. I'm going to say this about this, and I had no idea Billie Jean was going to come. Such a great honor to have her here, but playing and coaching were a privilege to me. Were truly a privilege to me. And anyone who coaches and takes that team every day, and you have, it's like, I said to one of the kids one day, it's like clay lots of times. I mean, you can make it just a big mess, or you can really make such a beautiful picture out of one day of practice. And it's not about the tennis, it's through the tennis that you see this in their eyes, and they go, wow, nobody ever says it's a great practice. But when they say, wow, man, you did a pretty good job today, that is like special. You guys are special to me, you kids, all of you kids. And you coaches, Amy, all of you guys that are now still coaching, Tyler, Sherry, all of you people have such an impact on what our job is about. And if we lose, I'm going to say one last thing because I may not be here again. If we lose what the meaning of sport is, that it's only about the winning and the losing, and those coaches only retain their jobs, winning matches, winning games, whatever it is, then we've really lost the heart and the soul of what our job is really about, which is really helping grow those kids. And that's about pretty much my message, Great message, Ann. Yeah, thank you.
Well, we're almost finished, and I just want to once again congratulate these 4 inductees on fantastic accomplishments from you guys, and Gary Ripple's going to close us out.
Thank you, Betsy, and congratulations once again to our 4 honorees. Let me just finish by saying some words that I scribbled down today as I was thinking about this particular program. And looks like we've done it once again. We're on time and under budget. Actually, I was kidding about the under budget part. Afraid we went over a little bit with that meal that we ordered, but So we're going to be needing our new inductees to report to the kitchen after the program, help out with the dishes. I do want our newbies to know that we are most grateful to have spent an evening reliving your storied careers and for the time you've shared with us. Coming generations of young girls will visit the Hall of Fame, and they'll learn of your achievements and simply be in awe. They will dream of someday being just like you. And I know you'll join me in wishing them well. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great evening. Let's quit while we're ahead. Good night.